what is that, 105? We'll call that 105. Cylinder 1 was 100, cylinder 2 105. We'll look at the others too. That one looks low. That's probably my biggest issue. What do we have there? 75, 80, 90 psi. Let's go take a look at the numbers. All right, so I've just performed a compression test on that engine, and my target's 125 to 130 psi per cylinder. I'm not near that, so 100, 105, 110, down to 90. So my range between the cylinders is pretty high. I mean, I've got a 20 psi range between 3 and 4. And if I look at my spark plugs, they're all pretty nasty. Let me get a little bit of light on. Oh, hopefully we can see this. Those spark plugs are pretty carboned up. They're not that clean, and they haven't been in there that long. So this engine is a candidate for rebuild, re-ring, something like that. It's actually kind of better than I was hoping for. Those values are low, but well, we'll just keep on tearing into it and see what we end up. Not too bad. A little greasy. My hydraulic reservoir has been venting excessively for a very long time. That's nasty. Wonder how many boxes of shop towels I'm going to end up going through on this project. It'll be a couple. Draining the hydraulic fluid out of there. And we'll move on to, we'll get that hydraulic tank off of there, get it cleaned up. This whole housing would come out if I take out these two large bolts, but I'm going to take it apart piecemeal. So I'll take out the housing off of the mount here. Just these 4 bolts here, easy peasy. There's a little red color underneath there, but a lot of work to get there. Let's see what this oil looks like. Looks thin. It's a fairly cold morning. Doesn't smell bad. Smells all right, but that's awful thin. And black. We'll let that drain out, and we'll drain out the radiator next, I guess. Yeah, we're going to want to drain that radiator so we can pull the head and whatnot. All right, one bit at a time. I wonder what these two 3/4 head bolts. Well, they're obviously holding down that bracket for the hand crank starter. What else do they go into? Because that seems overkill to me. I don't know. What do you guys think? That's a lot of bolt for a pass-through starter bracket. I feel bad about losing the lock washer, but it's broken. You know, I'm not a fan of lock washers at all. I don't believe in them. I've taken courses on torque and fasteners over the years, And the funny thing is if you take a flat washer and a lock washer, you torque them both down the same, then you take your torque wrench and you reverse it, well, you step it up, they both break free with the same torque. So they break free with the initial torque. The only potential is because once you clamp it down, your lock washer becomes a flat washer. Now you do get a little spring action that might resist it backing all the way out after it does rattle free, but that's at that point you've lost the clamping force of your fastener, which is the critical part of the whole apparatus. So yeah, I'm not a big lock washer fan, but I do appreciate the intent. All right, couple more to go. Okay, it's either overkill or it's underkill, because these four bolts are, their entire purpose is to hold down this piece of sheet metal and this bracket for the hand crank starter. Overkill because that's way too much clamping force, way more than required. Underkill because realistically you should have multiple smaller fasteners to give you a better, to prevent warping. And so it's an interesting part, right? Quick and easy to put on. I'm not going to fuss too bad about it because it's been in place for and operation for some 70 years. So not everything has to be engineered right to the ragged edge. That's pretty nasty. That's what I was looking for, my drain valve for my radiator. I can clean that out a little bit, and let's get that radiator juice out of there. Cool beans. Let's see if I can slip this radiator off of here. There we go. Radiator's out, and this is nasty. Just all sorts of awesome. That leaking hydraulic fluid reservoir along with your standard detritus. Yep, good stuff. So yeah, that's all right, it'll clean out. I probably didn't have to take all of that off of there just to get to where I want to get to today. So today I want to get the head off and try to measure some of the cylinders. I want to get the oil pan off, and I want to try to get some plastic gauge up in there and just check and see how my bottom end is doing. The bottom end of the tractor, not my bottom end. How the bottom end of this engine is doing. Yeah, I'm having fun here. So a little bit more at a time. One piece at a time. And it didn't cost me about $1 million. This is going to be so expensive. All right, keep going. All right, first we'll pop off the valve cover. Then we'll have to take off the rocker assembly so that we can get to the head bolts. I am leaving the, actually I got to take off the air cleaner first. I'll take off the air cleaner. I'll leave the exhaust intake manifold on for now, because as soon as I pull that off, I've either got to build new gaskets or buy very, very expensive old gaskets. So yeah, a little bit more at a time. Oh, look at that. That's interesting. I got a keeper working its way loose right there. Worry too much about keeping track of which push rod goes where, because each valve is individually adjusted. All right. There's a little bit of sludge right up in there on what just fell down. Let me look. Cup off of, well, what was this off of? A valve? Nope, nope, right there. We'll just go with the little extension. So at first glance, it doesn't look that great. A lot of carbon. I'll clean it up a little bit more to get the numbers off of these pistons. I can feel the ridge right there. I'll measure that in a minute. Same thing here on cylinder number 2. A lot of carbon. And then 3. Cylinder 4, of course, well, it looks the worst. We've got, looks like it was attacked by a gerbil. And look at the pitting on that cylinder. It is kind of a cool pattern of that pitting. That swirl. Cylinder 4 probably, like my accessories. Anyways, cylinder 4, it probably ended up with water in it. This whole tractor, you can see it just sits back, leans back. And so any water going down that intake could go ahead and it would naturally drain to, actually water going down the exhaust would drain to cylinder 4. That's probably what happened there on cylinder 4. So there's lots of, well, we don't know yet, but that's the first glance. The head, well, let's look at the head. So when I tried to start it up to warm it up and it just flooded, you can see here on cylinders 3 and 4 where we just have, there's some gas in the intake still, and it's just leaking right past those valves. They should all be sealed up. So we got leaky valves there. We knew that. A lot of carbon. Not so bad on the pitting right there. Lots of carbon buildup in here. Don't know anything else until we I guess check it out for cracks and whatnot. I doubt it's cracked. I don't see any real evidence of that. I just see a lot of evidence of a lot of wear and a long time spent living outside. All right, cylinder 2, that's fairly tight. Cylinder 3's concerning. That's a lot of play in there. I'll have to measure that. But there's an obvious difference there. Let's look at 1 and 4. Four is pretty loose. 1 is tight. So 1, 2 seem to be in good shape. 3 and 4. Boy, and you can see that damage to that piston compared to this. So in my searching online, I have not yet found a set of pistons for this tractor, pistons or sleeves, either one. I'm thinking I might be able to go ahead and recondition those sleeves. Just hit them up with the hone. So I measured them, 3.625 nominal. My measuring tools aren't the best, but I've got about a 2, 5, 4, 6 thousandths difference between the ring, or excuse me, between the worn part and the unworn part. So that's within the realm of a ring, just replacing the rings. And so we're going to, well, I'll think about it a little bit more, but that's kind of where I'm leaning. I might just try to refurbish these sleeves in situ, not take them out, and hone them and re-ring this engine. But first of all, now that we kind of know what we have going on here, and we know that the head is going to need a lot of work, right? It's going to, well, at least a valve job, right? So it's going to need cleaned up, and the valves need done. At that point, top end should be better, marginally better. Next, we need to dive down underneath this thing, drop this oil pan, and see what kind of shape it's in. I don't think I'm going to get a chance to pull the oil pan and check the clearances on those journal bearings and whatnot. I've got to clean stuff up, kind of put stuff back together so no further damage happens. And I got to take my beautiful wife out to dinner. It's our anniversary. So, hey, it's been 28 years. Yeah, 28 years. So, who'd have thunk it? Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll keep on going one way or the other.